Hello friends, Namaste to all. As we all know, the JIPSA promotional exam is going to be conducted very soon on 28th of August this year. So, motor insurance is one of the 7 subjects that are the part of these exams. So, if you broadly say motor insurance from the examination point of view, it has 3 subjects. One is motor OD, second one is motor TP, and with the coming up of new IRDA MISP guidelines few years back, now some questions on MISPs are also asked by the examiner. This lecture will be particularly focused upon a part of motor TP. Recently, the Motor Vehicle Amendment Act 2009 was given assent by President on 9th of August 2019. So, in this lecture, we will be covering the various changes which have been brought about by this act, brought about by this amendment, and which influence the general insurance industry. Other part, the legal framework, various provisions of Motor Vehicle Act, it will be taken by my friend. So, we will, without wasting any time, we will dive into the topic. So, the first section which is of relevant importance to us is the driving license. The currency of driving license, section 14 of the MV Act, that has been amended substantially by this new amendment. The currency of the driving license for the various types of vehicle have been changed. Like for transport vehicle, the license before this amendment used to be valid for the 3 years. Now the currency has been extended till 5 years. For the hazardous license, the license which is used for the driving the transport vehicle carrying the goods of hazardous nature, it was earlier valid for 1 year. Now it will be valid for 3 years. Other licenses like two-wheeler and private car, earlier they were valid for 20 years or till the person attains the age of 50 years, whichever is earlier. And if the person has already attained the age of 50 years, it will be valid for subsequent 5 years. Now that entire thing has been changed. Now if a person applies for a DL below 30 years, the license will be valid till he attains the age of 40 years. If he applies for the license between 30 to 50 years, the license will be valid for 10 years. Similarly, between 50 and 55 years, if he applies, the license will be given till the age of 60 years. And if he has attained, if he is applying for the license when he has already attained the 55 years, the license will be given only for the 5 years. So all these changes are very significant as far as examination is concerned. So there can be questions asked, like they will give you the date of birth, they will give you when he is applying for the license, and they may ask till what time this license will be valid. So all the aspirants who are appearing for this exam should be very much conversant with this new changes which has been brought about in section 14. So section 15, the renewal of driving license. Earlier there used to be provision that if a driving license has expired and if application is made within those grace period of 30 days after the expiry of license, the license will be renewed from the date of its expiry. But if the application is made more after the 30 days, then the license will be renewed from the date of its renewal. Now that has been dispensed with. Now what the new provision says, that if the application for the renewal of license is made either 1 year prior to the date of expiry or within the 1 year after the date of expiry, so 1 year before the expiry or 1 year after the expiry, the driving license will be renewed from the date of its renewal. So that grace period which was earlier present has been omitted by this amendment act. So this provision also assumes a lot of significance. Now we'll move to the provisions like chapter 10, 11, 12, which deals with the liability towards third parties. So the chapter 10, if you see before this amendment, it deals with the no fault liability, NFL, which we say in short, in which there was an interim compensation. Remember this word interim, because it's not final. So for the cases where the victim has sustained permanent disablement or a death arising out of the motor accident in a public place, there under these provisions they were not they can simply get the compensation without establishing the negligence on the part of the offending vehicle. So for that a limit was fixed both for permanent disablement as well as the fatal cases. So for permanent disablement it was 25,000, for fatal cases it was 50,000. So it was interim in the nature, in the sense that when a person can file another application under the fault principle, like in under section 166. So when the final award comes, any NFL amount previously deposited by the insurer has to be reduced. So let's say if it was a fatal case and a petition was filed under both section 140 and 166. So under section 140 the court awarded 50,000 and in the final the award came for 10 lakhs. So when making the payment at the time of satisfaction of the final award, this 50,000 is supposed to be deleted from the 10 lakhs. So that entire chapter 10 which dealt with this NFL provision has been now deleted under this new amendment. So as of now in this amendment there is no provision for an interim compensation under the no fault principle. That does not mean that we don't have the NFL provision in this new amendment, but that interim compensation has been dispensed of with. Then there was another provision which was introduced earlier, section 163A, which deals with the structured compensation formula, in which the compensation was governed with the second schedule. Section 140, which I told you dealt with the interim compensation. Section 163, even though it is based on the no fault principle, it was a final compensation, and it was amended wide notification dated 22nd May 2018, in which that schedule was removed and a lump sum amount was fixed. That entire 163A has been now deleted from this this amendment. Instead of 163A, now there will be a new section called 164A introduced under chapter 11. Similarly, it will be a full and final settlement. It will not be a interim compensation. Like 163A, it will be final compensation. So in old provision, if you see, the death case was 5 lakh after this amendment of 22nd May 2018. Now under section 164A, the limit has been retained as 5 lakh. But where in 163A there was a separate compensation for permanent disability. Now this permanent disability, how the compensation was calculated, it was 5 lakh into the percentage of disability. If you see 163A, it is specifically governed with the disability as per the Employee Compensation Act. So in the Employee Compensation Act, there are injuries, schedule injuries, where the disability is fixed in that table as per the table. So 5 lakh into that percentage disability as per the Employee Compensation Act, provided it will not be less than 50,000. And there was another category called minor injury, where the liability was fixed as 25,000. So in the new section 164, the fatal cases, it is 5 lakh, and the permanent disability has been replaced with a term called grievous hurt. Grievous hurt, and the compensation has been fixed as rupees 2,50,000 for the grievous hurt victims, and some minor injuries have been removed altogether. So what is grievous hurt? We will see later on under section 145 in the various definitions. What does this grievous hurt means? Okay, now we will see, if you see the section 145, it deals with the various definitions governing the third party insurance. So if you see the definition of property, earlier it used to include goods carried in motor vehicle, roads, bridges, culverts, trees, posts, milestones. Now it has been, the ambit of this definition has been expanded further. Now it will include baggage of passengers and the goods carried in any motor vehicle. So now let's say there is an accident between two vehicles, and the baggage of passengers have been damaged as a result of that accident, the owner of that baggage, the passenger, he can also maintain a claim against the offending vehicle. So if you see, if you see, our third party policy covers both injury, death, as well as TPPD. So the third party property damage, that property, now third party property, so property now definition has been expanded. So if a baggage of passengers have been damaged, he can maintain a claim under TPPD against the offending insurer of the offending vehicle or the owner of the offending vehicle. Now another term which has been changed under section 145 is the third party. Third party, actually it's not an exhaustive definition. Earlier also it was not an exhaustive definition. It's only indicative, or it's only a inclusive definition. So earlier we used to say that third party includes the government under section 145. Now they have gone one step further to lend more clarity into this definition. Now they said it will also include the driver and any other co-worker on a transport vehicle. So if you say it specifically talks about only the driver and other co-worker on a transport vehicle. So only on a transport vehicle, not on a private car, not on a two-wheeler, only on a transport vehicle. So the driver as well as any other co-worker, the co-worker means the one who are in relation to the maintenance and operation of that particular transport vehicle, they will be also deemed as third parties. And another definition which has been newly introduced, as I told you, under section 164A, the grievous hurt. A grievous hurt, the definition has been newly introduced, and it means all those which are coming under the definition of IPC 320. So they have linked the grievous hurt with the definition which is given under section 320 of the IPC. Section 146 is kept as it is, so there is no change in section 146. Okay, so another section which has gone a tremendous change is section 147. If you see earlier, as I told you earlier, that our policy, the third party policy, TP policy, covers injury, death, and the TPPD. So TPPD, our statutory limit is 6,000, but if you see our policies, it is usually extended to 7.5 lakhs, 2 lakhs, and 1 lakhs, depending upon the type of the vehicle. Now this limit they have proposed to remove. Now what they have said, that central government in consultation with IRDA, they will come up with a base TP premium and the corresponding TP liability. Let's say let's say IRDA says that now for a motorcycle the premium will be 1,000 rupees and the corresponding TP liability will be 10 lakh. So if a vehicle is insured with this, if a vehicle owner gives a premium of 1,000 rupees under TP, then the liability till 10 lakh will be covered by the insurance company. So as a natural corollary, there we may come up with the products in the future where there will be a add-on covers for the extension of TP liability. But all these provisions are yet to come in force. So still this provision is not implemented. So the consultation is going between the various stakeholders and various insurance companies, IRDA, and the central government. So let's see when this provision will be implemented. So if this provision is implemented as said, then we will be moving from the unlimited liability regime to a limited liability regime, and there might be another products governing TP liability which may come soon with the add-on covers, like there might be if you want to extend the TP liability on the payment of an additional premium. And this section 147 also contains a provision that if any policy has been issued before this amendment comes into the force, that the provision will apply as if the act has not been amended. So it will go, the new policies will be governed by the new amendment. The policy which have been issued before that, they will be governed by the old act itself. If you see section 147, it contained a provision that for a specified employees who are the workmen, like driver, the ticket examiner, and conductor in a public service vehicle, or any other person carried in a goods vehicle who are workmen, they will be covered till the extent of that WC liability. Now that provision has been removed under the new amendment, and the non-coverage of the contractual liability was an exclusion which was specifically mentioned in section 147 earlier. That provision has also been deleted. And another welcome change has come in section 147, which has been missed out in this slide, but it's very important. Now specifically the goods carrying vehicle, the gratuitous passengers are not covered. It has been specifically written in section 147 under the amended under this new amendment. Section 149. If you see the earlier section 149, it dealt with the statutory defenses available to the insurer. Now that section has moved to section 150, and now a new section 149 is introduced. This is a very, very welcome change from a social point of view. As you all know, the motor road, the it's the road motor accident claims takes a lot of time to be awarded. It takes a lot of time to settle them, and in a state like Gujarat, it takes more than 5 years, 7 years to settle a particular TP claim. If so, in 2007 or 8, Delhi government, under the leadership of Justice J.R. Mida, they come up with a DAR scheme. So that DAR scheme, the police officers submitted a detailed accident report within a prescribed time guidelines after the occurrence of accident to the tribunal as well as the insurer. So that helped a lot in reducing this settlement time. So taking a clue from that DAR system and subsequently the Jayaprakash judgment of the Supreme Court, now it has the settlement of by the insurance company has been institutionalized under this section 149. So whenever an insurance company receives an intimation of accident either from the claimant or through the AIR, they will designate a particular officer to settle the claim, and the officer has to give an offer within the 30 days. So they have now, it's an obligation now on the insurance company to first to appoint a nodal officer and then to make an offer to the claimant within the 30 days. And if the claimant accept that offer, the claim tribunals will record that settlement, and that claim will be deemed to be passed by the consent. The consent award will be passed in such case, and once the consent award is passed, the insurance company will have to pay that amount in maximum period of 30 days from the date of receipt of that consent award. And if the claimant rejects the offer, then the matter will be heard by the claim tribunal on merits. So in a way, it is something like a pre-litigation compromise. So before the litigation begins, insurance company and the claimant will have an opportunity to settle the case itself. So this, if followed, will drastically reduce the time of the settlement of MACT claim. So this is a very, very welcome change, and it will definitely help the road accident victims in future. As I earlier told you, the defenses of section 149, which were the statutory defenses under section 149, have been moved to section 150. So all the defenses which were earlier there have been kept as it is, and there are two welcome additions to these the two defenses have been added newly. They have been newly incorporated in this amendment. The one is that if a driver at the material time of accident was charge sheeted under section 185 because he was driving the vehicle under the influence of alcohol or intoxicants or drugs, then that will be a statutory defense available to the insurance company. Earlier, if you see the section 1 of our package policy, in package policy we have a definite condition in our policy that if a vehicle is being driven under the influence of alcohols or drugs, the insurance company can repudiate that claim. But no such defense was available in the as far as TP claim is concerned. So whenever insurer used to take a defense that driver was under the influence of alcohol or he was charge sheeted under section 185, more or less all the tribunals and the various appellate firms in the country, they did not used to listen to that defense because that was not a statutory defense available to us. So now it has been incorporated as a new defense. So now we can always take the defense that a vehicle was under the influence of the driver was under the influence of drugs, so our liability does not arise. So if you see this, now coming to this point, if the various penal provisions, if you see in Motor Vehicle Act, especially section 180 to 200, they are of very much significance. Every time in every exam there will be at least one or two questions on this section. Like section 185 deals with, they will give you 4 options: drunken driving, rash and negligent driving, whatever it may be. So these penal provisions, even if you don't remember the what is the fine and all those things, but at least you remember the headings of these sections, what are actually they meant for. So that also you need to all the candidates who are appearing should remember these penal provisions, at least the headings. Another defense which has been recently which has been incorporated as a part of this recent amendment is that 64VB violation. If you see in all the LOBs other than this motor TP, 64VB, if 64VB is not complied with, it's a mandatory condition for any claim to be paid. If a check has been dishonored, the contract is void ab initio, and the liability of the insurer can be repudiated on that ground. However, if you see the history of the TP claims, this provision, even if the 64VB has been violated, we have seen so many cases where the courts have given pay and recover awards, and even though there was no contract as such, but since it was a social legislation and a benevolent legislation, still the third parties were paid, and insurer used to pay them and may get a recovery right against the insured. Now specifically this 64VB violation has been made a statutory defense under section 152. So it's a very good change from the insurer point of view. Another change which has come, that section 149(5), which used to talk about the pay and recover cases where there is a violation, that has been deleted. So if you say technically that pay and recover provision has been deleted in the new amendment, but this is open to interpretation. How the various courts across the country will interpret this deletion is yet to be seen. And once this act provisions relating to the insurance are implemented, there will be litigations on this issue, and then the stand of the various courts will be clear how they interpret this deletion. Now the section 161, which deals with the hit and run motor accident cases, where the vehicle was not traceable after making a lot of effort also, those comes under the purview of hit and run cases. Earlier there was a fixed compensation granted under this section 160 fund to such type of victims. Death was 25,000 and 12,500 for grievous hurt. Now it has been increased multifold. Death 8 times increased to 2 lakhs, and grievous hurt it has been increased to 50,000. And the amendments empowers the central government that by the notification they can come up with the time frame for the payment of such scheme, and the manner also in which they have administered. So recently on 2nd August 2021, central government has come up with a draft scheme for this hit and run. They are draft rules which have been placed in public domain, inviting the comments from various stakeholders. So maybe within next 1 or 2 months this will be finalized, and we will have a concrete hit and run scheme in picture. We are yet to see the modus operandi, how it will operate. So now, as of now, there is no mention of the Solatium fund which earlier used to exist. And there is another addition in section 162 where the insurance company will have to provide for the cashless treatment of victims of the accident during the golden hour. if you see the golden hour, this definition has been newly introduced under this new amendment. It is the time period lasting 1 year following the accident, and it is only dealing with the traumatic injuries, not the simple injuries. Where the injury is traumatic, if you see after the accident, that 1 hour is very crucial. If the victim gets the proper medical attention at that time, then all these grievous injuries and the traumatic injury cases can be we can stop them to converting it to fatal cases. So this is also a welcome change, even though it will insurance company will have to pay for the cashless treatment, but ultimately the liability of the insurer company will reduce, because in so many cases we will be helpful in making all these victims, we will be helpful in saving their lives, ultimately reducing our liability, and it will also fulfill our social purpose too. Okay, now section 158(6). In the old act there was a provision called section 158(6), and it formed the basis of the DAR system, which I earlier told you, which was introduced in the state of New Delhi, where the police station was duty bound. If an accident occurs in a jurisdiction of that police station was duty bound to report that accident along with the report to claim tribunal as well as to the insurer within the 30 days. Within the 30 days of that accident. Now the time limit has been increased within the 3 months, has been increased to 3 months. So this time period is very much important from the exam point of view. Okay, as I earlier told you that section 140 to 144 has been deleted, and now the new provision has come, section 164A and 164B. 164A, if you see in 164A, I told you the various new compensation, the difference between permanent disablement and the grievous hurt. Now 164B provides for a creation of motor vehicle accident fund. Now a new fund will be created. The central government by its notification can create this motor vehicle accident fund. That scheme is also, the draft scheme is also has also come on 2nd of August. Still it is inviting the comments of the various stakeholders. So what will be the purpose of this motor vehicle accident fund? It will provide the interim relief to I told you that 162, that golden hour, the cashless treatment. So one of the uses of this motor vehicle accident fund will be that cashless payment during the golden hour, then the payment to the victims of hit and run. So, and moreover, it also has the procedure that if a vehicle has not been insured, then the owner of the motor vehicle will have to we can recover that, the government can recover that amount from that owner of the uninsured vehicle to replenish that fund. Section 166. So there was earlier, if you see, prior to that 94 amendment, there was a time limit for filing a compensation after an accident has happened. In 1994 amendment, that limit has been dispensed with. So after that, there were lot of problems from the insurer point of view. We will receive the petition after 5 years, 10 years of the accident, because there was no time limit governing that filing of applications. So, and more or less the court used to allow it, and it was very difficult for us to investigate an accident which has occurred 10 years or 5 years before the intimation. Now again that time limit has been introduced again, that is 6 months. So from now on, once these provisions are implemented, if accident has happened, the claim has to be filed within the 6 months of the occurrence of the accident. So it does not mean that courts can't condone the delay. They can always condone the delay, but somehow it will arrest that thing, that petitions were filed with an inordinate delay and with the ill intention in the mind to make money out of this benevolent legislation. So that 6 months will this 6 months limitation is very much beneficial for our insurance company, for our insurance industry. Okay, now as per the current provisions, if you see, if as a result of an accident a person has sustained an injury, and if he has after sustaining that injury, if that person has died, so in the as per the existing provision, the claim will survive only to its state only when that particular death has a nexus with the accidental injuries. If after sustaining the injuries in a road accident he dies by the natural death, then that claim will abate. But now they have de-linked that nexus under the new provision. Now if a person dies after sustaining the injuries, whether that cause of death was relatable to the injury or not, the claim will survive to their legal representatives. So that is very beneficial from the claimant's point of view. Another provision which has undergone change is appeal limit. Appeal limit, if you see, 10,000 rupees. So if the amount in dispute was less than 10,000 rupees, the parties can't prefer appeal in the appellate forums. Now that limit has been increased to 1 lakh, even though for all the practical purposes no insurer was going for such an petty amount in appeal, 10,000, and even if they have to, mostly the high courts will ignore that, will not admit the appeal at all, saying that the amount is too meager to be agitated in this forum. So that amount has been now institutionalized, institutionally has been statutorily increased to 1 lakh rupees. So now no appeal will stand above if the claim amount in dispute is less than 1 lakh. So amount in dispute, it is not the award amount that you have to see. This is amount in dispute, not the awarded amount. Okay, so these were all the provisions relating to the third party insurance. Now we will be dealing with some of the definitions which have been newly introduced. They are incidental to the insurance but are very important. Like the golden hour, it means the time period lasting 1 hour following a traumatic injury. So traumatic injury, not any simple injury, it should be a traumatic injury during which there is a highest likelihood of preventing death by providing prompt medical care. So that this golden hour is the one which we talked about under section 162. Now another one which has been newly introduced is the community service. If you see this, our legislator has taken a clue from the practices prevalent in the other part of world, where as a part of penal, as a part of the offense, that offender is mandatorily asked to provide some community service. So community service will mean an unpaid work. There will be no remuneration whatsoever, which a person is required to perform as a punishment. It is in the nature of punishment for an offense committed under this act. So this is a very welcome change in line with the various in line with the provisions in the other country. Now section 66A, central government may develop a national transportation policy consistent with the objectives of this act. This is a very beautiful change which has been brought about by this amendment. Protection of good Samaritans. So if you see, if any accident happens and there are people who have witnessed the accident and they hardly come forward to help the victim, to take them to the hospital, to attend to them, because they are worried about that that the various government agencies, the police force will harass them, will ask so many questions to them, so they hardly come forward. So now under section 134A of this bill, now it saves it gives them the protection. So what are the good Samaritan as per this amendment? The persons who in the good faith voluntarily and without expectation, these two words are very important, of any reward or compensation, renders emergency medical or non-medical, both medical or non-medical, or any of them, or assistance at the scene of accident to the victim or transporting such victim to the hospital. So all these the persons who render such services without voluntarily and without expectation will come under the definition of good Samaritan. And this new amendment provides the protection to them from the unnecessary trouble or harassment from the civil or the criminal proceedings, and empowers the central government to frame rules for that protection. So it's a very welcome change from the social point of view, that now these Samaritans, it has defined them and it has given them protection too. As I earlier told you, Golden Hour Scheme, section 162, all the general insurance companies in India, they will come up with the scheme for the treatment of the road accident victims, the cashless treatment during that golden hour, and one part of motor vehicle accident fund constituted under section 164B also, that will be used for such cashless treatment. Now that 164B, that motor vehicle accident fund, as I earlier told you, it will be utilized for the giving immediate relief to the victims of motor accident under the golden hour scheme, hit and run cases, or any other compensation which the government may prescribe. And if you see the compensation which will be paid out of this fund, it will be deductible from the compensation. It will be deductible from the compensation. So let's say if the medical expenses for a traumatic injuries have been paid out of this 164B, then he can't claim for that expenses when he files the application in the court. Another provision, liability of guardians. We know this is a menace that all these minors, the juveniles, we see a lot of accident by them, and so now their guardian or the owner of the vehicle, they have been made responsible for the accident, even though they were not driving the vehicle, because they have let the juvenile or the minor drive the vehicle. So they will be also held liable under this new provision called section 199A. Now another welcome change, that also it has been clue from the various other countries of the world, like driver refresher training course. So if the license has been revoked or suspended under section 19, the driver has to undergo this driver refresher training course. Now a definition has been changed, that invalid carriage has been made adapted vehicle. So I have just written it there. And last, as I earlier told you, if you see this amendment, the penalties have increased multifold. If you see the various offences under the Motor Vehicle Act, the penalties have been increased in order to inculcate a good road culture among the citizens of India. So you need not to remember all these penalties, but the things which I have written on the left hand side, the sections / offense, The headings are very much important. Like if you are driving without license, which section, under which section you have committed the offense. So it is 181. So they may come up with a question like section 181 deals with, or they can also come up with a question like driving without license is the coming under which section. So all those 180 to 200, this you need to know the heading at least. So that's all for the as far as Motor Vehicle Amendment Act 2019 is concerned. And best of luck to all of you. And in motor insurance, kindly remember all those provisions in Indian Motor Tariff or Motor Vehicle Act where there is a specific time limit prescribed, the various factual things like the monetary limits, the various discounts. So in GRs there might be a question where there is a application of 3 or 4 GRs, how much depreciation will be applied. They will give you an hypothetical OD claim in which you have to apply various GRs for calculating the depreciation, the excess, what will be an excess for a particular kind of vehicle. So you have to remember the excess. So wherever there is a factual questions, you have to remember that. And as far as Amendment Act is concerned, because since it is a red hot area now because it has been newly amended, so as I told you that even though the assent was given by the President on 9th of August 2019, only 63 provisions came into the force on 1st of September 19, and still the provisions relating to the insurance of third parties are yet to be notified, yet to come into the force. And I assume that whenever some question is asked from the MV Act, the examiner will specify whether it is as per the amendment or prior to the amendment. So you have to answer it accordingly. So you need to know the amendment as well as the act which stood before the amendment. So thank you friends, best of luck, wish you all the success, and hope you come up with the flying colors on 28th of August. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.